walked for 50 days consistently. You heard me, 50 days. The results are mind blowing. Here are 7 ways it changed my life. Number 3 is the best thing ever. Okay, so the main reason why I did this challenge in the first place was because I wanted to start waking up early and I felt like I was struggling so much with that. And when I did wake up early, I felt like I was just going to crash by midday. I don't drink coffee. I don't necessarily do caffeine unless I'm doing like green tea or something, which is not a lot, as you know. And so I had to literally just benefit off of my natural body's energy and will to live. So the first thing that I noticed was that when I got up and I walked in the morning, like within the first hour or 2 hours of being up, I was way more energized throughout the day. Like I felt like I could literally conquer the world. Like I don't know if it's because I was out in nature and that is something that I love and it's like a good little like breath of fresh air that kind of just cleansed my system early in the morning. I don't know if it's that. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's a physical walking, but it did wonders for me. Like the days that I did walk compared to like now, the days that I don't walk as much, you can see the big difference. So much so that I've started walking again. That was like a whole experiment kind of situation, but I did that so that I could see what habits actually changed me or made me feel better in my days or in my life overall. And this is definitely one of those things. So walking in the morning definitely helped me to feel a lot more energized throughout the day. I didn't feel like I was crashing halfway through the day or like I couldn't get all my things done that I wanted to get done. And I work from home, and because of my leg injury, I don't sit a lot. So most times I'm in the bed. So when I don't walk, after a few hours of working, I feel like I just want to go to bed anyways because I'm in bed. But when I do walk, energy all day. So that's when I walked in the morning. But there were times when I did walk afternoon, like in the middle of my workday or in the evening, like at the end of my workday. And like they were all good, but they all serve different purposes. So walking in the day resets and help me to focus more on the things that I want to do, especially like that after I eat and I feel like I just want to sleep kind of phase in the day. It really does do wonders for my focus. This one is hard to admit, but I'm a very emotional person and my moods will be here right now and in 10 minutes I'm there. And no, I'm not bipolar. But on the days that I did walk for those 50 days, and I'm comparing it to like days before I did that challenge and also days after, like these days where I don't do it as much just so that I could have like controlled data and like compare it, if that makes sense. My mood was way better on days that I did walk. And I don't know if it's the physical walking or just being out and connecting with nature. Because on those days, there were times when I would have my podcast going on in my ears while I'm walking. There were days when I would be like reading a book on my phone while I'm walking. And there were days when I didn't have any AirPods or any books reading or anything, and I was just focusing on my surroundings and just being in the moment kind of situation. And honestly, it's like a complete reset. Like I go out and I'll be in the worst mood or having whatever feelings I'm having, and after just 10 minutes of walking, I'm like, my systems were completely regulated. And it might be the vitamin D, because it is proven that vitamin D exposure from the sun does help to improve moods. But I don't know if it's the sun or if it was the walking or if it was the nature, but it's just something that I did realize, and it was like massive difference when I did walk compared to the days when I didn't. This is probably the best results that I have gotten, and I did it for as long as I did so that I could actually see if it was just in my mind or if it was just like a temporary benefit or if it was something that actually did change. And it did. And this is probably the most mind-blowing thing that actually happened through that entire time. Now, if you know me, since like age 11, I've had horrible menstrual cycles, and it's a little TMI, but it makes sense for this video. I've had irregular periods, horrible like cramps and pain, and just feel like I'm dying every single time because I have PCOS and endometriosis. Great combination of things that, you know, why wouldn't I want to have them together? But it was so funny that after walking consistently and just being out there for a minimum of 10 minutes, but most times I would do like 30 minutes of walking, it regulated my entire system. So I haven't had pain since that time, and that was months ago. And that's just crazy because I was popping pills like I was a drug dealer, but now I don't have to anymore. And that was one of the only things that I changed. I did change some things for my gut health and just like overall eating clean, but that was the biggest thing that I had changed. And I have changed my diet and all of that multiple times before and didn't have that benefit. So I know for a fact that it was just me walking. And when I did some research, it shows that vitamin D is actually a great way to treat or to reduce the symptoms of PCOS and endometriosis. And I'm like, no, this makes sense. So that was probably the best benefit that I got from it. And if I got nothing else, getting that by itself, because I chose not to be medicated for any of these things. So having like that natural thing that I can just spend 30 minutes or an hour of my day doing something that has so many other benefits, but is also solving this big problem that I've had for at least like 13 years, then yes, sold on that. Now, this is another thing that I should know. When I say that I'm walking, I don't mean that I'm doing speed walking, because I'm still kind of being careful with my leg injury. And so while I would want to be like keeping up with a high speed or whatever the case is, I just wanted to make sure that I was being consistent with moving, like not just being stuck in the bed or being stuck in the house and whatever it is. Because to be fair, I was very immobile for at least 8 months because of the leg injury, and so I felt like any movement was good movement. There were days, as I mentioned, that I just wanted to go for a stroll and to ensure that I'm enjoying nature. There were some days that I tried to walk a little bit faster than others, but some days I just couldn't manage to go as fast as I would want to, and that's fine. However, I'm saying that to say the next benefit that I got was that I did lose a few pounds, but better than just losing a few pounds. And I think if I was walking faster, then I would obviously using more energy and losing more calories, and then obviously lose more pounds. The other thing that was really great is that I've been tracking my weight since January of this year, and my weight fluctuates a lot. However, when I did do all that walking, I did realize that my weight was a lot more stable. Yeah, and as I said, I did make a few minor changes in my diet, but they don't usually have that big impact by themselves. And so it might be a combination of eating healthier and being active, or it might just be the fact that I was being active and I wasn't for like almost a year of my life. So do with that what you must, but I did like the fact that I was being active. It felt great, and the scale was showing it. Even if it wasn't like a big drop, like, oh, I lost 15 pounds, it did show some changes. This is another one that blew my mind. And when I like doing research, just in case you haven't realized that much. When I did the research on it, I'm like, oh, now I understand why, but I didn't know that before. And so it's like another one of those mind-blowing things. It wasn't as mind-blowing as, me regulating my cycle, which I haven't been able to do for the past 13 years of my life, but it was actually helping me with my insomnia. So one of the main reasons, as I mentioned, why I wanted to do this is because I wanted to wake up early. Waking up early wasn't necessarily the problem for me. It was more so going to bed early enough so that I could wake up early enough and be like functioning throughout the entire day. And sometimes I'll just literally be laying in bed trying to fall asleep and nothing happens. I'll try to take some meds or something to knock me out. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. I don't know. My system is kind of weird. But what I found, especially on the days that I did walk early in the morning, like within the first hour of being awake, is that based on research and based on my experience, being outside is actually regulating my circadian rhythm. And so my body's like, oh, we're outside, it's sunny, or the sun is rising and we're getting vitamin D. It means that it's daytime, it's morning. So what happens is when you do that within the first hour of you waking up, it sets your internal alarm clock or internal sleep cycle or whatever you want to call it, your circadian rhythm. And within like 14 hours after that point, your body starts producing melatonin, which means that your body starts relaxing and getting into sleep mode, right? And so when it came to nighttime, I was actually tired. And I know that with my leg injury, like everything tires me out. And so walking did help to tire me out a bit. But when I walked in the day or in the evening, it wasn't as effective as when I walked in the morning, which is why I know it was mainly because of that and not just because I was tired, if that makes sense. When I went to bed in the night and it's time for me to go to bed, I would fall asleep not long after, which is very unusual for me because I'd have to be twisting and turning for at least an hour and a half before I actually fell asleep, like on normal days. This is another one that's like, it's related to me walking for the 50 days, but it's not just because of that. There were days when I didn't want to do any of this, just like there are days when I don't want to do other things that I know I'm supposed to do. However, me following through and actually walking on those days where I'm just like, I just want to relax and watch Netflix, or I just want to stay in bed for an extra 30 minutes instead of going to walk, or whatever it is, me actually showing up for myself and going to do these things that they were hard, but I needed to be consistent with it because that's what I told myself I would do. That's what I told the internet that I would do. What it actually did was to help me to gain a lot more confidence in myself, and I just felt like I could do anything because I told myself I was committing to doing this thing for 50 days, and I did it. I did it. It wasn't easy, and the little voice in my head sometimes would be like, yes, Kimberly, you don't have to do this. You can miss a day or whatever it is. But actually following through, despite what I was feeling, despite not being motivated, helped me so much to just have that self-confidence and to know that I can say something and I can follow through and I can just be there for myself the way I say that I'm going to be there for myself. So that was another great plus that I didn't really expect, but was great nonetheless. And then my final thing is that I just felt great. I felt great every morning that I walked or every day that I walked. And at the end of the challenge, I felt even better. I felt better emotionally, mentally, physically, like every kind of alley that you can think about. I felt way better because of this thing that I changed. And so it's definitely something that I want to continue. And while I may miss a day or miss a, whatever it is because of whatever reason, sometimes life just doesn't go the way we plan. And so I will give myself grace on those days when it just can't happen. But it's definitely something that I want to get back into doing because I had my moment before where I wasn't doing all of these things. I had my 50 days that I did these things, and then now I wanted to go back to see if I don't do these things, what are the differences. And now I know for a fact that I need to incorporate this into my life, and it will just make me a happy, healthier person, which is the goal anyways. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So if you want to do this, incorporate it. Try 2 days out of the week if you're not somebody who does this kind of thing, and then increase that as you start getting consistent with that smaller amount of time. But I promise you that you will not regret it. Go outside, get some sun. For me, especially because I work from home, I'm literally indoors 99% of the time, and so it had a great impact on my system, on myself, on the things that I do, on my moods, everything. Okay, that's it for this video. If you guys are into walking and you've done anything similar or something that you've done with your life and you have any other added benefits that you have seen and you would like to share, then let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to hear all your guys' thoughts. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next week for the next video. Until then, I was about to say stay golden, but until then, just remember to do something today that will help you to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. You know, something like walking. Okay, bye.